We'll be taking a look at the updated 2022 Senate polls from the 538 website. So I'm going to get right into this video. Now do remember that the polls are not that accurate sometimes, and just take these polls with a grain of salt. I'm simply looking at the data. Now I'm just going to fill in some of the safe and likely states that we likely won't really need to touch on. So 46 for Democrats, I might leave out Colorado just for now. And it should be a similar amount for the Republican Party. So they're at 44, and Iowa so 45. And we'll get right into today's video. Now, first off, going to the first state that is competitive on this list here, the state of Arizona, in its polls right now, have Kelly up by 7.4%. Now, do remember that although Kelly is up by such a significant margin for such a swing state, he is not even at 50%. Do keep that in mind as we go through the video, but Arizona for now is going to be a likely state. The next state is Colorado, which Democrat leading there, Michael Bennet. I don't think he's leading by 9%. I don't think Odia is just at 38.4%. But this is just according to the polls. We're just going to take it at face value. The next state on this list here, we're going to go to the state of, I believe it's the state of Georgia here. Raphael Warnock is leading by 2.1%. That is actually a lean margin. I don't personally believe that. I think that this race is very close. If anything, right now, Walker is favored. But, again, I'm just going to take these polls at face value. Florida, I think I skipped over that state. You can see Rubio is only up by 3.8%. He was leading when the polls started at August 9th. He was leading by 8.2%, but now the polls seemingly have tightened by a huge margin. So that will be just a lean seat for the Republican Party. For the next state, I believe this state, let me see here. So the next state is actually the state of Nevada, and the margin has tightened up. You can see that recent 4 polls have Laxalt all leading Cortez Masto. Although the margins are really tight, it does seem like that Laxalt is starting to pull out of an advantage. So Masto's only up by 0.7%. I expect Laxalt to be leading in about 2 or 3 days. But regardless, I'm going to put this race right now still in the total Democratic column. Democrats are already at 49. Republicans only won 1 seat, that being Florida, which is pretty much already in the likely to save Republican category. The state of New Hampshire shouldn't be much of a surprise that Hassan is leading, though it is notable that he's leading by 7. It really shouldn't be that large of a margin. In fact, in some of the recent polls, Hassan is up by double digits in some of the recent polls. Now going to the next state here, the state of North Carolina. Ted Budd has recently regained his lead over Cherry Beasley, but it's a very narrow lead. In fact, Beasley could take the lead again very soon. However, I do believe that Budd is quite favored in this race. I think he has an over 80% chance at winning it. I think he has about an 85% chance. Regardless, 538 only has this race within a percentage point, which I do respect, but I also don't think it makes much sense. Another state that does not make much sense here is Ohio. Ryan was up by 5 points at some point in this election cycle. The most Vance was leading by was 2.6 points. And obviously Tim Ryan is not favored to win Ohio. However, the polls seemingly always suggested that Tim Ryan was favored. Right now, he's leading by 0.6%. Now, Vance was leading by like 2 or 3 days in some of the polls, but now Ryan has taken back his lead. Just looking at some of these polls, I heavily doubt its reliability. Some of the Ryan plus 6 polls, Ryan plus 9 polls, Ryan plus 11 polls, they simply do not make sense. Vance has regained the lead in some of the recent polls, but Tim Ryan is still ahead according to the aggregate somehow. Now going to the state of Pennsylvania. Fetterman has a 7.0 lead. He was up by 10 points at one point, but at the start of the July, when the first polls were conducted, still in mid-June, Fetterman only had a 4.4% lead. And do remember, Fetterman is very close to 50%. This is not good for the Oz campaign, but again, the polls are not very accurate. I highly doubt Fetterman will win by 10%, 2% maybe, but just look at some of these polls. Plus 21, plus 9, plus 18, plus 19 are some of the polls, and they're really not very accurate. Some of the polls recently have shown this race signing to a 2, 3, 4% margin. Do consider the historic bias towards Democrats in the state of Pennsylvania, especially in recent history. The final state, I believe, is the state of Wisconsin, which Ron Johnson has actually taken back the lead. In some of the recent polls, he is up by between 1 to 4%. Previously, Barnes was up by some huge margins, 7 points, 4 points in some of the polls. Now, Johnson seems to have a consistent about 1% advantage. Remember, Barnes was up by 3.8% for basically a period of over 15 days. In fact, very close to a month. However, now it does seem like that Johnson has taken back the lead. I do not expect him to lose the lead anytime soon. So, that is that. Pennsylvania is likely Democrat, while Wisconsin is still Republican. In the last map I made, North Carolina and Wisconsin were both blue states. So the map, I believe, their polls have improved a little bit. However, again, I still do not think Democrats are going to win Arizona by a likely margin. I do not believe Democrats are going to win Ohio. I do not believe Pennsylvania will get off to Fetterman by 7 points. Nor do I think right now that Warnock is going to win by 3 or 4, I also don't think that Democrats are really going to win the state of Nevada, given a lot of the recent polls and just the statistics I've been seeing. Anyways, thanks for watching today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye!